Let's go for a hike. Let's climb the mountain. On your mark, get set. We're ready to go! Step by step through each day, we all walk with someone along life's way. These friends we make affect what we do and say. We can be wise with our friends today. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. Do your friends speak the truth, or do they tell lies? Don't let your feet be led astray, but travel in God's way. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. As we climb the mountains through the rocks and ferns, we may be tempted to take a wrong turn, but let's follow Jesus to the mountain top. Walk with those who love Him, let's not stop. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. Do your friends speak the truth, or do they tell lies? Don't let your feet be led astray, but travel in God's way. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. Do your friends speak the truth, or do they tell lies? Don't let your feet be led astray, but travel in God's way. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. Walk with the wise, that'll be the best. If you walk with the fools, you might be put to the test. Walk with the wise and enjoy them too. If you walk with the fools, it won't go well for you. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. Do your friends speak the truth, or do they tell lies? Don't let your feet be led astray, but travel in God's way. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. So let's wise up and walk with the wise. Do your friends speak the truth, or do they tell lies? Don't let your feet be led astray, but travel in God's way. So let's wise up and walk with the wise.
Good job, guys.
Wrong thing. How am I gonna...
What are you doing?
Well, this is my family tree. See, I've got my name on it, and I'm gonna go print off pictures and hang them all over.
Okay, well, I've heard of people figuring out their family tree, but this is not exactly what I had in mind.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think figuring out your family tree actually involves a tree.
Really?
Really? Yeah. Okay, so it's more of like how people remember their family and their family's name. So for instance, what's your dad's name?
You should know. He's your
I know, but I'm just testing you to make sure.
It's Jay.
Okay, correct. Now, what was Dad's name?
Glenn.
And what was Grandpa Glenn's dad's name?
I don't know. Is that Edward?
I actually am not sure. But the point is, that is what a family tree is.
Sorry.
That would be Grandma. See, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, that is what a family tree is. It's not an actual tree, but if you were to draw out, okay, this was my great-great-great-great-grandma, and this great-great-great-grandma had these kids, and then they had these kids, and then eventually it trickles down to me. But when you flip, like when you look at it, it looks like a tree with branches.
I see. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And you know, a lot of people have always tried to figure out the family tree as far back as they go. They want to know who everybody's related to, but you want to know something? The Bible gives us that answer. Yes! In Genesis 1, we learn about the first two human beings God ever created. And what were their names?
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. Now, if there were only two people in the very beginning of time, aren't we all going to be related to them? Because when those two people had to become everybody else? Yeah. But did you know that not everybody believes that God made Adam and Eve? There are some people called evolutionists, and they think what happened was one animal morphed into another animal, morphed into another animal, morphed into another animal, and eventually we came about. Specifically, they think that we evolved from apes.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah,
Anyway,
super weird.
there are lots of fossils that are found in different areas, and some of them, so some of the fossils that they found were actually located in Tanzania near Mount Kilimanjaro, and one of the most famous fossils they found was a set of footprints, okay, called the Laetoli footprints, and they were found by a woman named Mary Leakey.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Okay. And she was saying these were made by an ape-like creature that was turning into a human. But that's garbage because God tells us in Genesis 1 that he created man in his own image, and then also that he created things to reproduce after their own kind. So it's going to be the same kind over and over and over again. A skunk is going to be a skunk, is going to be a skunk, is going to be a skunk. A human is going to be a human, is going to be a human, is going to be a human, and it doesn't change.
So I
That changes.
So I have a question. You said that these footprints were found by Mount Kilimanjaro, correct?
Yeah.
So is that where people think the first people came from? Do they think that they came from Africa? I believe they do, actually. I think they think, if I remember correctly, people who don't believe God and what he says in his word believe that the first people came in the area of Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. There we go. Why do people?
Apparently.
So those footprints are part of it, but you know what? I think I've heard of another fossil. Haven't you?
Well, they actually were like, well, the thing that made these footprints were made by this fossil that they found 1,000 miles away from the footprints. And they're like, yeah, that made those footprints.
Does that make sense?
No, that does not make sense whatsoever. But some people try to say, and they found a fossil they named Lucy. And you know what's so silly about this is they're like, yep, this proves evolution. However, the bones that make up that fossil aren't even from the same location at all. They took bones from over here and bones from over here, and they put them together.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No.
No, and that doesn't prove that they're the same fossil at all. But this fossil had curved toes like apes, okay? The shoulders were pretty identical to apes. Her wrists resembled those of apes, and her hands were far from human-like. Okay, so more than likely they found an ape, and they just didn't want to admit it.
You see, fossils are really just bones that have been preserved in stone, basically. All scientists come to those bones with ideas of how they got there. Like I said, some people think that it all happened by evolution. It was all an accident and we just happened to morph from an ape into a human being. However, we've been learning about wisdom, okay? And in true wisdom, there is truth. And what does God say happened? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And in his word, which is the most accurate history book you will ever pick up, it also goes day by day and tells us exactly what he created. You see, over 1,000, and then 1,000 years after he first created Adam and Eve, there was something called the Great Flood. How many of you have heard about that? That was a worldwide flood that covered the entire earth because we got really bad as a human race and God had to destroy the earth. However, he preserved some people on the ark. Their names were Noah and his family, right? Now, after the flood was over, guess where they landed? Let me give you a hint. It was not in Africa. It was on a mountain called Mount Ararat. And do you know where that is? It is in the Middle East.
Which is Asia.
Yep, that's Asia. The very edge part of Asia. Okay? Now, is Asia Africa? No, not at all. So the very first people did not come from Africa as some people think. we know because of God's truth in his word, the very first people that we could easily-ish trace our heritage back to actually came from the Middle East. Is there something else I'm supposed to say? Tanzania has lots of cool fossils, but you know what? Those fossils absolutely do not prove that man evolved from ape. Instead, what should we trust? God. And what does God say? He made the whole earth, I tried to put world and earth together. It didn't work. He made the whole earth and everything in it. So when you look at your family tree, guess what? Don't go looking for monkeys or apes. You're going to be wasting your time. If you follow your family tree back, the only thing you're going to end up at is Adam and Eve. People, not monkeys.
Just like the Bible says. So remember that, okay? Remember that, because you're going to hear it a lot as you grow up and you are interacting with the world. They're going to tell you that you were not created in the image of God, but you were. You need to remember what the Bible says. And speaking of remembering, are you guys ready to remember, or ready to see what happens in our play today?
Yes. I hope the Bigfoot comes.
You think Bigfoot comes? Ooh, we'll find out.
Kilimanjaro, Camp Kilimanjaro, Camp Kilimanjaro, Camp Kilimanjaro.
Oh, good, you're back. Mr. Kendall called and said he's on his way.
Okay, well, that's good. That is excellent. I was hoping that he would come here before we left for the mountain.
Where are the others?
Well, some Maasai warriors were in town, and they wanted to go see them, so they went off to see them, and Joseph is going to bring them back a little bit later. I'm glad to hear that Mr. Kendall is coming, though, because I'm anxious. Well, I'm not really anxious, more like eager to hear what he has to say about the footprint.
Oh no, don't tell me he's rubbing off on him.
Oh, I hope not. So, is everyone's gear packed?
Yes, we finished loading everything, including the food and Catherine's shoes. So, how do you think they'll do on their climb?
Well, I think for the most part they'll be fine, but I think all of us are going to struggle once we get to the higher altitudes, because the higher you go, the thinner the air is, and you can't really breathe. I know I'm going to be struggling when I get up there.
Oh, you'll do great, and I know it. And by the way, I thought about your devotions this week were amazing. Consider her ways, go to the ant. You're sluggard. Consider her ways, and be wise. Who would have thought that you could actually learn something from an ant?
Well, God did.
You know, I've always been a hard worker, so I never thought of myself as a sluggard. But then, when you talked about a relationship with God, it really got me thinking, maybe I am lazy sometimes.
Yeah, that actually happens to a lot of us, especially when it comes to our spiritual life. A lot of times we work hard in all other areas, but when it comes to our spiritual life, we didn't put all of the effort into it. We are spiritual sluggards, and when we're spiritual sluggards, we can't love the God the way He wants us to.
Yeah, I see that now. Oh, he's here. Good morning, Camp Cowabungo! Good morning.
And it's Camp Kilimanjaro, not Camp Cowabunga.
Really? When did you change it? We didn't. It's always been Camp Kilimanjaro. You don't say. Well, it's a strange name, but I like it. And you know, all of a sudden, it sounds familiar, like I've heard it before.
Imagine that. So, did you find anything?
Oh, find anything? Oh, as a matter of fact, I did. I've been looking for this forever. Well, not exactly forever, just since junior high school.
What is it? A nickel?
Yes, but not just any nickel. It's my magic squirting nickel. Well, it's not really magic. See the tiny hole? You just fill it with water and then squeeze. Ah! I did it again! I always end up squirting myself. Well, not always. Once, in 7th grade, I squirted my math teacher, Miss Wilson. Yep, it went right up her nose and made her sneeze. She didn't think it was funny, but we sure did.
Mr. Kendall, I am happy you found your squirting nickel. But I was wondering about the footprint.
What footprint? All right. What about it?
Don't you remember? You were going to do research on what kind of a creature could have made a large footprint like this.
Oh, that must be what the pictures are for. They're on this fancy tablet. Well, not exactly on it, more like in it. Now if I can just figure out how to turn it on.
Oh, let me help you with that. I think we can figure it out. There we go.
So are these pictures of possible subjects?
Subjects?
Oh my goodness, you worked it
Always my fault.
up. Suspects.
Ooh, it sounds like a murder mystery when you put it that way. Here we go.
Is that a goldfish?
No, more precisely, a Carassius oratus oratus.
But Mr. Kendall, you can't possibly think that that's what created that footprint.
Of course not.
Well, that's good. You had me worried there for a moment.
No. As soon as I found out that he'd been in his bowl all week, I eliminated him. Well, I didn't exactly eliminate him. I just crossed him off my list.
What else do you
How
have?
about this one?
An ostrich? I mean, I know an ostrich is large, but you can't be serious.
Besides, it only has 3 toes. 1, 2, 3, and the footprint has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Boy, you're getting better at your math.
Oh, good point. I hadn't thought of that. There goes another one.
Oh, good.
Next.
An orangutan. Now we're getting somewhere.
Well, that's not really an orangutan. It's my boss.
What?
Well, it's not really my boss. It's just a picture of him. This was at our annual costume party last year. Pretty good, huh? He sure fooled a lot of people. I guess he fooled you all too.
Okay, Mr. Kendall, I want to thank you for coming out to help us this morning.
Oh, but I've got a couple more.
Yeah, well, I think we've seen enough, and we don't want to take any more of your valuable time up.
Well,
at the office lately? Well, not lately. More like early. I had to clock in at 6 a.m. this morning. Well, is there anything else I can help you with?
No, I think you've done quite enough already.
Oh, well, as the boss always says, that's what we're here for. You folks have a nice day.
I wonder how he got the park ranger job.
I wondered that myself many times.
I guess I made a wrong turn somewhere.
Yeah, I think you want to go that way.
Thanks. Have a nice day.
I was so hoping that he would shed some light on this footprint mystery.
I guess that was too much to expect. I gotta get back to work.
Man, those Maasai warriors were so cool!
Yeah. I got a good footage on them. Can you imagine them on the basketball court? With those jumping like that, I couldn't stop slobbering. Gross!
And well, they sure took a liking to you, Catherine.
Well, why wouldn't they? Charming smile, beautiful eyes, wonderful personality. What's not to like?
Okay, guys, we need to get this footprint interview done before we leave. Can someone go find Terry or Mr. Harper?
You know, let's set some first. Oh, well, here's Terry.
Oh, hi. We were wondering if you could do the interview. Oh, well, I don't know. I don't think Mr. Harper would want me doing that. He doesn't want any bad publicity right now. We've already lost 3 group reservations. Okay. I'll make a deal with you. Let us do the interview, and we promise not to do it without Mr. Harper's blessing. Well, all right. But do I look okay?
Yeah, it'll have to do.
You look fine. Don't listen to her. Wow. All of a sudden, I'm getting real nervous.
Oh man. I remember the first time I was on TV. I was so nervous, I threw up all over myself. Right in the middle of my weather report.
Ew, disgusting!
And, well, then the next day happened and I did it again.
Scott! You're not helping the situation. Go take a nap or something.
Okay, fine. I can see when I'm not wanted.
Now, I'm really nervous.
It's okay. I am an Emmy Award-winning news professional, and interviews are one of my very many professions. All you have to do is follow my lead. I'll make it easy for you.
Well, I don't know. Don't worry, it isn't live TV. So if you make a mistake or freeze, we can just cut around it. Okay, let's get the show on the road. Terry, you stand here. Catherine, you got the mic, okay? Okay, when everyone's ready.
Huh? Ready? Hello, everyone. Catherine Kent here, reporting from Camp Kilimanjaro at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. Today, we are not talking about the famed mountain, but instead a mysterious going around happening at the camp. With me today, I'm also pleased to introduce you Terry Underwood, one of the staff here working at the camp. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning.
Can you tell us briefly of what you found yesterday?
Yes, I'll be glad to, Catherine. But embrace yourself, because what you're about to hear will definitely astound you, or may even frighten you. It was a dark and stormy night here at the camp. And our guests were having trouble sleeping, but not because of wind or rain. No, it was a persistent, eerie howling that penetrated the darkness like a knife and sent chills up everybody's spine. And although we were told it was just a monkey, somehow we knew in the deep recesses of our minds that it had to be something much larger and more terrifying. And then we found it, the most hideous footprint we've ever seen by a mortal man. The footprint was so dreadful that all we could do was look at it. So, what was it that ventured into our camp? Was it Bigfoot? On that dark, cut that out. What was it that ventured into our camp on that dark and stormy night? Was it Bigfoot? We may never know at this point. We can only imagine what that giant, dreadful creature might have looked like.
Ah. Well, that just about covers it. Thank you very much, Terry, for your very disturbing account. Well, I guess you can all draw your own conclusions at home. This is Catherine Kent, reporting from Camp Kilimanjaro for Channel 9 News. Back to you.
Cut. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
Nervous, huh? Thanks for the nightmares.
Sorry, I guess I got a little carried away. May I go now? Yeah, sure, we're done.
I'll say we're done.
Well, that was interesting.
So, what did I miss?
Frankenstein meets Wolfman.
Oh, good. Everyone's here. The guide and the porters are at the front gate. So if you'll get ready to head out, that would be great, because it's almost time. Catherine, your shoes?
I know, aren't they fabulous?
That wasn't the word that I was thinking.
Well, so we're really gonna do this, huh?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
just
not sure
not-
about that one, but
You're just not looking forward to a grueling 8-day hike up the highest freestanding mountain in the world, where it's 0 degrees at the top and very little air.
Thanks. That makes me feel so much better. You know, next time we decide to do something for charity, I vote that we go to the beach in Hawaii.
is something wrong?
Yeah, I can't find my backpack. I had it yesterday, but today it's nowhere to be found.
Huh? That's too bad. Do you need it for the climb?
Probably not, but I did have my progress book in it, and I really wanted to take it.
So, you've been reading?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about what you said this morning, and I decided I don't want to be a spiritual slug anymore.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Well, we've got more Proverbs books available Or better yet, on the nightstand right by your bed is a Bible. You can have that Bible. And I will have Terry look for your backpack while we're on our hike.
That'll work. And don't you have to wait for me? You don't have to wait for me. I'll meet you at the van.
All right, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Oh, thank you, God, for what you're doing in his heart. You're just such an amazing God.
Hey guys, I found something. I think it's a piece of Bigfoot.